Hello, welcome to a brand new podcast on DisNewsYouKNow. My name is Marlon. I'm this capsule story about disputed news in the UK. Explore stories and give a bit of opinion. All the news sites have participated news. Even so, disabled people and news outlets are lives are still underreported and vulnerable. As many of us already know, we are underrepresented in the media. So this podcast is simply a level of address the balance. Hoping this will be weapons as in 2 weeks, mainly because it's really stagnant it's a total failure. It's new stories because we're not underrepresented in the media, so they do this excavated podcast. So we will be hopefully 2 weeks. The first story I want to focus on is from the Disputed News Service, an online disputed newspaper. And the headline is Dodson Forms access to work scheme poses extended threat and risk decimating the arts movement in disabled artists, companies, and consultants are warning this risk. And it starts by saying, especially growers and the Labour government of the Province Path-Based Work Green Paper, a series of leading disabled figures have spoken out to urge ministers to pay attention to the threat to more than 40 years of progress within the disability arts sector. And the concerns of won the support of the Arts Council is so Disability News Service. The quote is that they were deeply concerned about what we're hearing from disabled artists and the struggles with the access to work scheme. And the views at the point of work pensions, CWBs, or the pension banks, approach to the access to work scheme, given that we insist it's still consulted about the future of disability employment programme. Consultation on the green paper says including possibility for access to work reforms does not pose until the third period. However, this week has been seen at prominent artist Les Thorne, who was the founder of the award-winning disabled-led art Sweat Hero, announced that she'd been forced to step away from her role as co-artistic director of the Sweat Hero organisation. Was a vehicle for her projects. Her support budget was cut by 61% to decisions received on recovering from surgery to replace a pacemaker. And this organisation called Decode Partnership between Disability Arts and Mind and Kathy Waller Company that disabled people in the arts and creative sector with access to work. Released the results of research showing that 117 disabled people with support access to work over the last 15 months have been severely impacted by the cuts to support. So the average life for a self-employed workers patient case manager was more than a year. There's up 55 weeks, and the average life for a decision of being referred to access to work. Case manager was another 24 weeks. Tom Forley's director of PAP organisation says changes to this work are now causing the removal of artists and directors in disabled arts organisations. Assessment assess to understand whether they can survive these changes. These changes, it carries on, really are existential threat to disability arts practice, to the wider employment of disabled people across the whole corporate work. Meanwhile, it's important. As of the article, is that the chief executive of the Arts Council is told Disability News, deeply concerned here. Artists describe the struggle with the benefit system thanks to the primary work of disabled leaders in opposition. Disabled people working in the Arts Council funded organisations has risen from 5 to 9% workforce. There's other quotes from other disability organisations, but I think what's key for me in the article is the Arts Council, the grand role of the government. Obviously, it's figurative, and the fact that they're coming out and voicing concerns, I think it's quite significant. Not quite what the sense of first, but it was perhaps easy, particularly in terms of talking about one have to go to particularly disabled people to get because actually, impartial condoms coming out and speaking about folks, this village related folks, that much. I think, obviously, it can be cynical. Maybe it's the head against therapy because it's in the wake of last week. It's what probably disabled people, celebrities as writing or coming out, writing up their urgent gives them to think twice about public thoughts. I think that kind of public support. I think this comes at the back of that, so one can be cynical and say, well, it's safe for them to come out and say this. There's an anagrams full of discontent. Obviously, Labour MPs have also spoken out against the proposed cuts since they've been out as well. It's in the benches of parliament was. But I think people become grungos speaking out against paid cuts, and particularly speaking out against new governmental organisations running access to work. I hesitated, but it might well be unprecedented. And hopefully the government start to listen and besides maybe the U-turn. I mean, I think, I don't know, social services and social workers in general is coming in cuts. And I think it was round about the time of 2014, the introduction of the Care Act 2014, around that time, not specifically, but they were all happy about how they were all changing, how they felt they were no longer doing the job that they came into supposed to do, and they felt more as if still gatekeepers. Yes, obviously, the job cuts, but they'd been different cuts before that, and I don't know whether that was a bit cynical, whether that was more about the role changing and the fact that there was again, some people attached to cuts, and rather than a defence of the cuts themselves to disabled people, because let's be real. I mean, these come on the back of, I'll say, the cuts from the coalition years, but let's step it in terms of disabled people services and funding social services way before that. I mean, the cuts were savage, no doubt, but even in the boom year Brown, there were cuts within sort of there were reforms, there was in terms of community care, particularly getting funding, getting private payments for the library, hours for care. It's always been hard to get them, hard to then keep those hours. Those service individual get hours. They're being racist and they're having to defend against further cuts. That's always been kind of the way of life. Hopefully, with the, like I say, supporting the cause. Hopefully, the government might think again about a U-turn, because let's not forget that a U-turn against on the process for doing a U-turn. I'm saying they wouldn't do U-turn over cuts to wind fuel payments. So, hopefully, they do the same with the proposed cuts to just work, but obviously the 5 billion cuts that are planned around people and eligibility for people, so forth, and in transport and in the medical component for under 20. I think it's also important to say that, this, much like I've just said, the changes to social care funding and the significant cuts that have been happening year upon year, even in the boom years of Lemon Brown, under Labour, the access to work for the past 50 years. This is just yet another kind of cuts and extreme cuts. Access to work's been getting harder and harder to obtain and harder to hold on to and to get significant funding, and kind of flies in the face of this whole drive to people, disabled people, really. I mean, the government seems to love the rhetoric about it. People back to work, accept people back to work, those that can work, should work, accept and so forth. Yeah, the hardest thing in the world is to get access to work or occupy self-care, and then access to work. So it's like weeks to give you one hand, and then the next they take away. It's like you have to question what the real motives are. And I think many disabled people feel as if maybe they're being tested because the evidence on the ground is just failed to the rhetoric, really. And you can't put benefits, social care, budgets, and funding to get people into work at the same time just doesn't work. You don't think the outcome you want. I mean, you can go further inside the context of cost and social care, like accessible housing. All of it seems to point towards the opportunities getting less for disabled people. I mean, think about a lot of individuals that are supported more community let's say community care and direct payments, individual projects as it's called now. People get funding to draw their own stuff from their home. Well, there's a housing shortage in Germany in terms of self-housing, so it's for accessible housing. So a lot of disabled people now being encouraged, for better word, into group homes, care homes, and then losing that autonomy over there, and then losing the benefits, and then the employment sector, if there is opportunity for employment, they can't put funding to support them to with their needs, to maintain a job. And in the end, they're called non-productive benefits managers. So it's bright food. They were promised many disabled people up in June. I mean, to go further, I mean, even when you come back to this, we come back to direct payments, individual projects, those are individuals that get support to do their own stuff in their own home. Like all this talk of disabled people having no skills and being unemployed, it's absolutely ridiculous. Because at one point, they're literally employers. They're literally, well, effectively CEOs of their own business, small business, or paid CEOs, because the payment that they get is to pay for staff, and so that money goes to just literally paying the care staff and the tax. So the moment they wake up to go to sleep, they're literally unpaid care managers. And it is for their own needs, but still, they've got skills, management skills, and they're literally for employment. So the whole rhetoric is just deeply disturbing and untrue. Hello, and welcome to DisNewsYouKNow. Hello, and welcome to a new podcast. This usually know. Hello and welcome to a new news podcast called This News You Know. My name is Marlon and this capsule is talking about anticipated news in the UK. Hello, welcome to this new podcast, This News You Know. My name is Marlon and this capsule to talk about anticipated news in the UK, explore the stories and give a little analysis. To This News You Know, a new podcast. My name is Marlon and this capsule to talk about this video news in the UK, explore the stories and give a bit of opinion. So that you say they participate in news, disabled news affects our lives, it's still recorded. Generally, as many of us already know, we are underrepresented in the media. So on this podcast has a little way to address this balance. So without further ado, first we're going to focus on seeing that this news surveys and online news paper. And the headline is Goldsmith wants access to work scheme. Polls extensive threat and risk decimating disability on return sabotages companies or one in this way. Welcome to This News You Know, a new podcast. My name's Marlon and I'm this signed up to talk about this bit of news in the UK, explore the stories and give a little analysis. Hello, welcome to a new podcast. This News You Know. My name is Mark. My name is signed up to talk about this bit of news in the UK, explore the stories and give a little opinion. The news as I have just bit of news. So, even with that, the news affects our lives is still reported in governments, many of us already know, we're 100% in the media. Hello, welcome to my new podcast called DisNewsYouKNow. My name is Marlon. I'm this sometimes we talk about this between news in the UK, explore the stories, give a bit of opinion. Other than news apps out there to send news. Even so, several people in news apps are lives reported, and Germany is one of the stories now we are underrepresented in the media. And this podcast is the way to address this problem. Next story comes with this big new service online, and it talks about an exhibition that will drop the country to celebrate the past, present, and future of the railways. But the problem being it's inaccessible to non-disabled people who use mobility scooters because local rails use carriages that are more than 30 years old. Railway 200 project was 200 years since the opening of the Stockton and Darlington Railway on the 27th of September 1825. It's part of Railway 200 exhibition. Train tour the country with carriages displaying innovations, railway history, often hands-on activities to explore science and engineering behind railways, includes those interested in the engineering behind railways, including those interested in the Korean rail. Many disabled people will not be able to access the exhibition because Network Rail and its project partner, National Rail Museums, are using ancient bridges. Isn't that brilliant? Sometimes the back of everything discussed in this episode, it just almost feels as if I'm in the concept. 2010 and 2010 talk about. I remember saying something along the lines, welcome to the 80s in HD, and it just was really similar really, except like going forward to go backwards. Some says the DDA never happened. Now, which is now about the equalities. Obviously, but it's as if it's all one waste of time. The story made highlights more what we've just been talking about, really the lack of inclusion instead of big in everyday life. Exclusion, should I say? Yeah, when someone saying maybe it's just an exclusion, but it's an access. And the idea, yet again, disabled people don't need to be considered. These type of events, and I was once, again, like I've said, that the DDA, but it's had to have them continue to feel disabled people. And again, it's weird, it's like realizations linked to the government and sort of network rail, is it Quando? Yeah, it's more or less Quando. And, on one hand, you've got the Arts Council speaking out against cuts, sponsor access to work, and then you've got network rail really disregarding access needs. So it's give it one hand, take away the other. I mean, not that surprising. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if you did turn up and be successful, you could book even beforehand to go on there, and then we have to wait 2 hours after we've finished to be taken off. For someone to get the accessible and to get rough. So it seems to be a lot of experiences with some people well anyway. So it's just seem to be getting better really. Because when you've got problem figures, I remember based in the piece, myself, yeah, indeed, and Nick has at Kansas Food, shows in the train. And they're putting them big figures. Obviously being in the House of Lords shows that nothing really gets better. I'll try to trigger one story because as I mentioned this result. It's in the garden. It says everyone you'll just have to be things taking true benefits. Where's easy without quitting, no sanction, no food, and pay bills. Where's seconding questions the depth of Joe Demoting and what the planet did to be paid. These force resources in 2017. The Joy Dog. So here with him, those brothers. I know for a fact it was the day to be paid, of course, but sorry, I've got to say it. So, I pay legal to the conclusion, so it's not we should say I didn't precipitate. I'm mistaken before. Benefits for the day to be paid. Outcomes, Dove City. It's not about paying for the day to be paid. Why they've traded some of them as well. Payments is absolutely worse. Should not take it. And 8 years long for justice to get where we are today. It's been all about strength and again. We're everything exists for representative meetings. So the cause of death was despite many other things. They do be wanting without knowing. His fortunes come as bad and to walk in a few steps which are not if products to the small lines, because the data we face intent and medical assessment. She was deemed free to work and was told she would lose housing and council tax benefits. Dove said the reason why the film not attended was because she'd been in hospital with pneumonia at the time. Such as tragic story email. The data routine, paid and essence, subjects similar to so many we've heard in the house like now. This was an error, but data repeats part. Has to be said. All the deaths contributed to benefits not obtained and responded to be paid by any in the sense that they were deliberate to benefit. Can't help that his story keeps the consequences for those as planned. Further displays benefit codes. Because tragically, because it isn't just sponsored of men's savings, it's also human knowledge. Those cards that and his family and friends. Well, it's a final story of the podcast. Thanks for listening. And maybe more think about doing it in the next episode. Till next time.